And we'll move forward with the adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Maybe, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody, that the agenda be adopted as circulated. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Does anybody have an interest to declare? Seeing none, I will move forward with staff reports. 4.1, application for alteration of the Ontario Heritage Act, Linters Bridge applicant, United Counties of Leeds and Grenville Public Works. Moved by Councillor Antoine Hartley, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that council approve the application under the Ontario Heritage Act for the alteration to a Part 4 designated heritage property, Linters Bridge, per details and specifications in the submitted contract drawings dated June 17th, 2025, prepared by TSI Inc. for the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville as follows. 1, mortar repointing and stone restoration. 2, new stone supply and replacement. 3, masonry deep crack repair. 4, pressure washing, and that the approved works be undertaken in accordance with details and conditions of the approval dated August 8th, 2025 from the Ontario Heritage Trust, OHT, for emergency masonry repairs under the existing OHT easement agreement. So motion is on the floor, up for discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Kelman.
Thank you, Your Worship, and for you. I just had a couple of questions. So the work was to begin earlier than it will. Will it still be completed by early October? And I would assume that they aren't going to be working on the weekends so that there won't be construction or any work happening on the day of Turkey Fair.
Go ahead.
Thank you, through you. With respect to the timing of the construction, the contract was awarded prior to this being brought forward to the Heritage Committee. So the construction timeline is
Up in the air.
no, it is as planned.
It's okay.
It's unaffected.
Okay.
My understanding is that they've commenced certain preparation activities. With respect to the Turkey Fair, that was brought up, I believe, at the Heritage Committee in terms of if they could work around the timelines. And I believe that there is the counties is directly involved in terms of the coordination with the Turkey Fair. So that is being addressed.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions in regard to the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. One of my questions was, they're not moving one side 4 feet, are they? Oh, I guess they can't. Being a heritage building, yeah, it would be nice. One of my questions was there going to be stitching? But I did notice in the report that they are not going to do stitching. The company that's actually doing this, I do know their work, and they will do a great job of it. And also, my question about the Turkey Fair was, one of the ones says, as long as they've made it safe and navigable for that particular event, it should be good. But whether they had any other wholesome barriers that they're going to put up to actually mitigate any tampering with the work that they're going to be underway, because there's a lot of people there that weekend. So to have some robust hoarding. So
Deputy Mayor Fody, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. All this is an FYI to us for the alteration for the application, right? None of these expenses are being put onto the township.
Correct.
I should say it's all a county, right?
Go ahead.
Sorry, just to clarify, the reason that this is coming forward is because the bridge is designated Part 4 under the Ontario Heritage Act, and the local municipal council is the approval authority for alterations to those structures. So notwithstanding that it's a county's structure and capital asset, the approval is still required from the lower tier.
This was missed in the consultation, and that's why it's been...
I read that, but I still wanted to believe it. And as long as we're not attached to the dollars and cents, we're good.
Well, you are indirectly, because part of the tax bill.
We are, but how long might this delay the process?
I think that they are still anticipating they're moving forward with the same timelines. It may be a few weeks later but they can only move. We haven't affected, well, provided there's no major catastrophes, then they're on time.
Well, I saw the application, and it makes sense as long as they can mix mortar and it sets legally on its own, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully, quick approval and a late fall will combine to get this job done.
Okay. Councillor Antoine Hartley, go ahead.
To you, Chair. Yeah, at the Municipal Heritage Committee meeting, all of that was brought up, and about Turkey Fair and everything, and they were hoping to have it done
By then.
By then.
So they're working hard already.
Yeah. And one of the things is the pressure washing was a little bit of they were afraid that it might cause more damage than, and so that they've adjusted that somewhat.
Okay.
So,
Perfect. Thank you.
okay.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Okay, next item is 4.2 Escott Hall and Springfield House. Unanticipated overages, moved by Councillor or Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley. Council approved the capital budget transfers of 67,200 from the Escott Garage HVAC and electrical project and 51,600 from the Lansdowne Community Hall windows and doors project to the Escott Hall and Springfield House project for the purpose of the archaeological monitoring program required as part of the foundation works for the restoration of Springfield House, and that council directs staff to proceed with the required archaeological monitoring plan as identified by LHC Heritage Planning and Archaeology, and that the archaeology monitoring program be sole sourced to LHC Heritage Planning and the Archaeology due to their ongoing involvement in this project and their expertise regarding archaeology. Motions on the floor. Go ahead. I've got Councillor Maybe, then Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you to Director Holliday. The one of the budget items that's being held till next year is the Escott Heating HVAC. Does the building presently have HVAC heating in it, or is this an upgrade or a new system totally for that building?
Thank you, through your worship. The Escott Garage HVAC and electrical is currently in place. It was identified in the asset management plan based on its age for replacement. We feel that this won't have an impact on how the facility operates by postponing that project until later.
Excellent. And the follow-up question would be for the Lansdowne community building, the windows and doors, which are presently in place and been working so well so far, but are due for replacement. The same sort of scenario, they can hang out for another year easily.
Yes, through your worship. With the Lansdowne Community Building, we had put a tender out for the replacement of the windows up on the second floor, as well as the doors, the main doors going into the facility. And the numbers that we received were substantially higher than what we had anticipated. So this was a project that wasn't going to be undertaken in 2025 anyways. We were going to have to revisit what we were looking to accomplish and then move forward.
Rebudget.
Yes, exactly.
And just as one final one, the archaeological dig, it is basically a meter wide, but are they tapering the banks so that they don't have to get into retaining walls of any sort for the foundation being dug to the footing, if they find a footing?
Through your worship, based on the depth of what we have to dig, bank stabilization is not anticipated as being required for this. We had done some test holes at the front of the building and found that the material in the ground was suitable. We're only going 4 feet deep.
Yes.
So there's no expectation that we'll have to worry about the embankment collapsing as they're working in.
Okay,
with
because
the
that
facility.
would also give more archaeological material to go through if you had to. So, okay,
Correct.
thank
Yes.
you.
Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Through you, Chair. So I'm just wondering why this might not have been contemplated, that because it was a registered archaeological site prior to, that I'm just questioning what thought processes maybe were put into that didn't happen. And secondly, there's hard hand screening and excavating in order to investigate potential archaeological deposits. But, and in quotations, the archaeologist may identify soil deposits or features with CHBI that require complete archaeological hand excavation before resuming the foundation work. Has that possible cost been factored into this?
Through your worship. So we started this process with it being a heritage site. We had an obligation to look into the archaeology of the site at that time. We'd already awarded the contract for The contract for this was awarded before the new year for the construction works. And then we engaged the archaeologists after this. And we started off with a stage 1 study. I believe it was a stage 1 study, which then turned into a stage 3 study, which had to be submitted to the ministry. And now we're looking at a stage 4 study. So this hasn't even been approved by the ministry yet. But they're anticipating that this is going to be the requirement based on their experience. So these costs just sort of ballooned as we move through this process after having awarded the contract. So we learned this. The report that you have, I only received it a month or so ago, and that's when I found what the costs actually were. I haven't worked on a project similar to this where we've had to start that process and make it through to a stage 4. So this was quite surprising when we found this, and we knew that we were going to be exceeding our budget and would have to come to council for some reconsideration. Sorry, the excavation with the handwork, they have provided a cost estimate based on what their best guess is for. They've done some test holes around. They have a pretty good sense of what's in the ground. And this is their process, which is also being approved by the ministry on how to approach this project. They'll be on site. Everything will have to be screened. And yes, as they're watching the excavation unfold, they'll have a better sense of what we're encountering as things change. And then at that point, they'll determine, what the next steps are. They'll give guidance to the contractor. And this was considered the worst case scenario with the contractor when we awarded, or as we progressed through the project. They had questions and we said to them, and I apologize, I think I gave you a wrong date. I believe we awarded this in February, if I'm not mistaken, and the first archaeological study was completed after that. The timelines are the project was awarded and then the archaeologist. That's the important thing to note. But as the contractor had expected, being that there's the potential for the archaeologists to be on site and there might be hand digging required, to base your costs on doing the excavation on that worst case scenario. And so they've done that. And then with the archaeologists, they're telling us what they expect is going to happen from their point of view from a worst case scenario, so that we've got it covered as best we can.
So the 103,000 will cover that.
That is the expectation, yes.
Okay, I have back to Deputy Mayor Fody. You haven't spoke yet. Sorry, I didn't mean back to.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to our Director of Operations. This was all triggered because of the excavation that's required now on the outside only.
Through Your Worship, that is correct. The project, the external work to be completed now is similar to what they completed on the inside of the building, where they cleaned out all of the grout in between the stones, the limestones. They will put the stitching in through the stones to secure that foundation wall from the exterior, similar as what they've done on the inside. They'll then fill it full of grout to make it a solid surface, a solid wall at that point. And then they're going to put a blue skin and subdrain. So the excavation right down to the footing is required as a result of that.
Okay, so they're excavating the outside down to the base, hypothetically, whatever's required. And at that time, the archaeologists, are they limited to just what we require to dig, or do they have carte blanche to every time they find an article to move back another 6 inches, 6 feet, what have you?
With this project, this is my first time dealing with this, but my expectation is that, or my understanding is that it's only anything that we disturb that we have to sort through. So if we weren't doing any exterior work on the foundation of the building, there would be no obligation for us to undertake this process with the archaeologists. It would be considered on site and remain on site. But because we are disturbing it, that's when we have to account for everything.
Okay. As you can guess, my fear is that once they are on site, once they find an article or something, they could keep going, but that shouldn't be the case. They're limited to what we need to move.
That is correct.
Okay.
I think we are causing, sorry, and Marnie's actually got her hand up.
I'd like to say yes, but if something significant is discovered within the area of the work that's occurring, it could mean that there's something else required.
Right.
As has happened with many projects in places like the city of Kingston, where there's been excavations and significant old foundations or things found. I'm not saying that's going to happen here. Dave has a very good full-scale quote from a reputable firm that's doing this that has a pretty good handle in terms of what they're dealing with. So I don't really think that there's going to be that at this site, but when you're talking about archaeology, you can't really rule it out 100%.
And we're just dealing with the north wall, right?
Go ahead.
Yes, and that's what I wanted to add to that, is that we did do test holes all the way around the building. And what we found seemed to be consistent with what you would expect when you're going around the foundation of an old building. It's bottles and nails and toys and those types of things. And they seem to fit the era. You know, if it was construction and bottles, then it seemed to fit the era of the construction. And then given the uses of the facility after it was constructed, and we found toys of different eras that were much newer than when the building had been constructed.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any other comments or questions in regards to this? I have no other hands up, so I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstained? Carried. Okay, next item is 4.3 RFT OPS 2025-011 Rockport Village Phase 1, moved by Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman. The council authorize an increase to the contract award contract RFT OPS 2025-011 Rockport Village Phase 1 to $1 million to account for the unanticipated overages not contemplated, in the design. Just for reference of those who are listening to us, the original quote for it was 800. Sorry, it's in the report, but just if they're listening. 874,250. Okay, so just for context, this is increasing what was already approved from 874,250 up to $1 million. That's what the request is in this motion, just for anybody listening. Okay, motion's on the floor, up for discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Yeah, it does seem like it, to some it might be a little extravagant, but again, I've done test holes before too, and you've gotten surprised after you get started on something and you find that you may not have had enough base where you thought, or you found a rock where you didn't think you'd find one, and you had to shift gears to make the project come to completion. I also 3 weeks ago had the opportunity to be down in the Rockport area and had my new friend Oliver with me. So we parked at the Little Red Schoolhouse and walked the whole length up and back. And I seen where all the markers were, all the culverts. No, not all the culverts were in. I believe all the trees were down that were deemed to be marked. There were some that were staying, and I did take a good view of the markers and where they were. And there's a couple properties that may have a little bit more road frontage than they did at one time, but the improvements to the area in 2 years will be greatly appreciated to the actual village, the corridor that people are traveling down, as well as the non-sidewalk boulevard which will be able to be walked on if you have ample traffic and or parked cars there. And I don't think the impact is going to be that large after watching and seeing and kind of contemplating how it all goes together. So I definitely see it as an improvement and to public safety. Thank you.
Further comments or questions? I have no other hands up. Okay. So the motion again is that council authorize an increase in the contract award for contract RFT OPS 2025-011 Rockport Village Phase 1 to $1 million to account for the unanticipated overages not contemplated in the design. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstaining? And it is carried. Okay, so just to say that Based on the conversations that I've had with staff and with the contractor who's doing multiple jobs here in the municipality, very grateful for the partnership that we've received with Tackberry Construction. And grateful for what how easy they've been to work with the staff. So I think that overage could have been considerably more had we not been working with a local contractor. Next item is bylaws. Moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that 3 readings and final passage be granted to bylaw 2025-040, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds in the Thousand Islands at its September 2nd, 2025 special council meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. And the next item is adjournment, moved by Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that council adjourn at 7:45 PM. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we are carried.